Hello, my name is Irune Capri. I work at BrainSTEM University, and one of the things I'm working on right now is creating the new version on the Luminary games. We released the first version in April to play it on the web, and this new version we're doing it for mobile devices. The platform we're using for the game is Unity, and mostly we also work with the plugin Game Creator, that is a set of tools that helps creating games. And well, what I want to show you right now, it's part of my process on how I'm creating this game, how from the information on the design document I start working on the game, adding the mechanics we need, and all of that. So yeah, let's see. So this is the Unity platform, and this is the scene where I'm working on the game. Right now it's very raw because we're just starting, but we're making progress. So usually from the last time I work on the game, in this case yesterday I work on the game, and when I'm done that day I write a list of stuff I want to do next. So right now, if I'm thinking about like, okay, why should I, because there's so many things you can do. So I usually go to Trello, and I go to actually my personal Trello, and here like I have the list of stuff I want to work today. So this one I already like did it, that is the Ricky dialogue. Now I want to work on the collecting items, and also this means start adding stuff to obi. Obi means obstacle course, and it's in Spanish because, well, I speak Spanish, so I have like Spanglish all over my notes. So as I said, what I actually want to work on right now and what I want to show you is the collecting items. I want to work on this. Basically, the collecting items means creating the mechanics. So when the player, as the name says, collect the item, actually that works. Because right now you can have any item in the game, and the player like, how do you actually do the mechanics of when the player like overlaps the item, you collect the item. That's what I'm gonna work right now. But so you have an idea why the goal of the obstacle course is, while the player is at the obstacle course, he or she has to collect all the items in order to craft at the end to create the Lewis Latimer light bulb. That's our goal. But right now, let's just focus on creating the mechanics of collect the item. Okay, so as you can see here, where it says hierarchy, all of these are the stuff, the mechanics, the items, everything that is on my scene. And here I have a folder named items, OB1, because we're working on the obstacle course one, and item 1, 2, 3, and 4. Item 1 is actually this one. But now you will ask why. Like, why is named item 1 and why you only have a cube? How is that a part of a light bulb? That doesn't make sense. Basically, when you're working on a game, first you have to focus on that the mechanics works. Then you can make it pretty with the designs and everything else, but the most important part is that you first nail the mechanics. So right now we can actually work with this, and it's gonna be fine. Later, where we're finishing, we focus on actually putting the designs and make it prettier, because of course that makes a better game. But the most important part is the mechanics, okay? Or not the most important part, but at least the part you have to nail first. Because imagine like you do the designs for the game, and then you work the mechanics and the mechanics doesn't work. So then you have to change the designs. It's easier if you just work on the mechanics first. That's it. As I said at the introduction of the video, I'm working with Game Creator, and Game Creator makes everything easier. So the first thing I have to do is add these items to the inventory. I'm actually gonna go ahead and change the names of these because I know what items we're gonna use. So here I have the names for the items for the light bulb. So here, if I click any item or any folder on the hierarchy, here I'm gonna have the information of each thing. If I just click on item 1, I click here, I can rename it. So the first one is the base. Okay, so now I have the name for each item. And as I said, we have added to the inventory. Here you see how it says game creator. I have to click that and then click preference. And here you have all the models from game creator. And that's why it's so useful because you have a lot of stuff. But right now what I'm going to work on is on the inventory. These are the items that already came with game creator, which I don't need that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a new item. And so here is the information you have that you can add to your item. Right now, we don't need to do much. We only need to add the name. Well, I'm gonna say can't be sold because we're not doing that. I'm just gonna say, well, the maximum stack, I only want the player to have it one time. And the weight, I'm just gonna say 30. Oh, and this part is important. You have to say what type is it. So I'm just gonna click on general, equipment. I'm gonna unclick this consume item because that means like you can drink it or something like that. For example, if in potion, like you have a potion, you can see how it says consume item and it's click it, but if you go to the hat, it's not click it because you can't consume a hat. You get the point. You can't consume the base of the label. So I think that's basically it for it. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Now we can actually start working with our items in the scene. The first thing to notice is like the orange cylinder that is at the bottom of the base. If we go to the other items, they have it too in different colors. That's just why we want to classify each item by the color, by a color. So that's why we put it there. So it's easy to a player because we're also going to have like fake items. So that's kind of part of the game, but it's not really important right now. Right now, what we have to do is create the mechanics of collect the item. So our next step is going to be to create a trigger. So as the name says, a trigger is going to be the cause of something happen. So if I go to base and we take a look here at inspector, it gives me the information of the base. So we're going to click on add component and we're going to write trigger and we're going to add this. So basically what this is going to do is going to add a trigger to this item. And we're going to change the trigger. We have different causes that for the trigger. We can change it. What we're going to do, we're going to write enter and we're going to choose on player enter because this is going to mean that the trigger is going to happen when the player enters to the, in this case, the base, right? So it's exactly what we need. We need something that happens when the player touches enter the base. And just like for an explanation, you can ask like, what is it going to enter? How is it going to know? Well, that's why we need this box collider. Right now, it has a box collider because we're using a cube from Unity. But if I were to like upload the design of the base, it wouldn't have a box collider by default. So I will have to add it. The important part with on player enter is that you need a box collider. Actually, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to unclick, I'm going to delete this, the box collider, and it gives me like a warning, like this type of trigger requires a collider, because that's how Unity tells that the player enters with a collider, okay? So I'm just gonna add the box collider. And you have to make sure click is trigger. And that's it for now, for the trigger. The next step is going to be, okay, what is going to happen after the player enters? So do you see these two buttons here? This means action and condition. Right now, we only need an action. We don't really need a condition. So here it adds the action. So everything we put here is going to happen after the player enters the box collider of the base. What actions do we need? Well, the first one is going to be add the item to the inventory. That's why we actually, That's why it was our first step to add the item to the inventory, because that is going to be the relation. After the player enters the collider, you're going to have that item on your inventory. So if I just write inventory here, there is actually an action that comes with game creator that is actually named item, and it says add base. Okay, that's our first step. The second step is gonna make it disappear, because when you play a game, you collect something, it disappears. So for that one, we're gonna write set active, and we're gonna drag it and drop it here. We're gonna click here, so we don't want it active. That's actually it for the actions. Now what we need to do, it's something that I haven't done before in the game, is add. When you're playing, you should be able to see the inventory, right? That shouldn't be hard, because as I said, game creator comes with a lot of features that helps you. So I'm gonna add a trigger, and I'm gonna name it trigger inventory. That's another thing you need when you're creating again, very organized. I'm gonna change trigger key down, and I'm gonna say I, because that's the letter inventory starts with. Again, this is the same. We're creating a trigger that is going to, because when the player enters the I letter, okay? An action, just as before, add action and inventory UI open. That's basically it. And I think we might be ready to go. I'm just gonna hit play. The reason why I say it might is because when you're working on a game, sometimes you don't want to start from the beginning. You want to start from where you are, but you have another mechanics that crash, so you can really, we'll see if it works. So for example, this is not really part of the game, but I just have it there because I was working on something else. And for example, there is an invisible barrier here. Why? Because it's part of the game and I forgot to disable, but it's okay because we can actually make it disappear. We can cheat a little bit here, and then we can go and we'll see. Oh, if I click I, this is our inventory UI. Right now we don't have anything. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, but the item did disappear. And if I click I, here it says base. We don't have anything there because, as I said, we don't have the designs. We're supposed to have an image that when you collect it, it's here. So it worked, but there was something that wasn't supposed to be there. So let's see what it was. Let me see. If I go to items, base, it's still in there. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what it is. I'm gonna this was a trigger from another thing that I was doing before and I didn't delete it. And so we don't have to do what we did before to disable the barrier and all of that. I'm just gonna move the player where we want it. That is next to the base. And hopefully it does work. Save it. Okay, let's see. There we go. What about, actually I think we have that. If we add a sound, I think that would be cool. So items, base, the actions are here. Play sound. And I have a folder here that are with sounds. So here is all the things are on the scene, and here are all the things that I have in Unity. So just if you have the question. So I have these names because are from the old game. So from that part, I don't have to worry about to know which one is which. That's why This is the same sound we use for our old game, for the oldest version. So I think now it should work. Uh, Another thing I'm gonna do. These are the things that happens when you're working like on the game. You're gonna realize things you wanna change. I just wanna make it smaller. I feel like it's too big for the player. You know, it doesn't feel like it's collecting an item. It feels like it's, I don't know, it's super big. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna hit play again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it looks way better. And now it looks, I don't, you don't feel like you have to jump or something. And if I click I, my base is there. Cool. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, learned a little bit. I know I wasn't really like explaining everything. I just wanted to show like my process while I'm working on the game. And that's basically it. You have to try it, change, try, change. This was very like straightforward. I already worked on it, but sometimes there's stuff that I've never done before because I just started to creating games this year on February. So kind of like a lot, but I think it's super fun and I really like it. And I hope you guys enjoy the video.